bugging out is most preppers' default strategy. But is it the smartest? And if you bug out, do you have a place to go? And is it a place that you should go? We're going to talk about those things in this video. Welcome to Prepared to Live. I'm Chief, and today we're talking about making sure that you have planned your bug out location so that when you get there, you have a successful opportunity for survival. I'm here in our bug out location for a few days, just checking on things, a little R&R. It's a great place to relax. It's quiet. Not a lot of commotion goes on here, so it's a very secluded place, but we'll get to that in a moment. But this is not our number one strategy. Our number one strategy is to stay exactly where we are. Things are going to have to get very bad for us to bug out because all of our food production systems, all of the systems that we use are already in place where we are, and it's not just plug and play. There are no gardens already operational here. There is no greenhouse already in operation here. There are no animal systems already in operation here. All of those things have to be done and have to be brought online because I don't have the time to do those things in two different locations. So understanding that that is our primary, let's talk about bug out location and the things you need to make sure you have in place with your bug out plan, because you don't want to just leave with no place to go. The first thing you need to make sure is that your bug out location has a sustainable water source. I did a whole video on that, so go ahead and open another tab and click on that link and watch that after this video. But water is important. 3 days without water and you're dead. We have two water sources here. We have a drilled well that pumps water up into a large reservoir up on the top of the mountain that gravity feeds back down, and then we have a large river just through the trees over there. That river's teeming with life. It's clean. It gets its headwaters up in the top of the mountains, just not far from here. There's nothing above it, no campgrounds, no homes, so that water is clean. Just packed with brown trout and rainbow trout and just a lot of life around there to forage and do the things that we need to do. So that water source is a great thing that we have. We have two of those water sources. The other thing that you need to make sure you have is shelter. When you get to a bug out location, do at least have the potential for life-sustaining shelter. Here we have a small home. It's actually a FEMA building. It has a bedroom and a loft, a living room that will sleep 2 or 3 people, small kitchen, and a bathroom. We also have an outbuilding here where we have food storage and fuel storage and supply storage built out of freezer panels, so it's very well insulated. And if things got extremely cold, that's so much easier to heat than the home, and you could survive in there with just minimal heat. We have a way to heat with wood here, so we have a sustainable, life-giving shelter here. The third thing that we look for is seclusion. Are there very many people around? And the answer to that here with our place is no, there's not many people around. You want to make sure that also that you're not going to a place that everybody's going to think about going to. If you don't have the money to have a place, you at least need to think of a place that you had visited some point in your life, or that you know about, but not a lot of other people are going to think about that place to bug out to. You don't want to arrive at your bug out location and it's no more secluded than where you left. So seclusion is an important thing because that seclusion brings protection, but seclusion doesn't guarantee protection. It also needs to be securable. This place is very securable. We have a dirt road that comes in from this direction that's easily closed off by dropping one tree. It literally comes over the top of a mountain. A very narrow road that is tough passage anyway. So to be able to close that is a breeze, and then there's a pinch point just right down the road in this direction, which is a paved road that can make passage by vehicle impossible. And then in both directions this way, you have to literally climb mountains to be able to get here, as we kind of sit in kind of a low-lying area. Well, really on the side of this mountain, but in a low-lying area. So no one is going to choose to come that way. That's just not the path of least resistance. So it's very securable. Not only can we close those roads, but we are at somewhat of an elevated vantage point compared to the roads, so that it's securable if we needed to. We have clear line of sight, and we can secure those roads from our vantage point with weapons. So we have a place that's secluded and securable. I said earlier that we don't have production systems in place, but we do have places where we can start those production systems. And we have gained those skills through years and years of doing the stuff, so that we can get those things up and operational. We have storage food here, enough to last until we can get those systems producing for us. But there are places for us to be able to do that. Now, where we're leaving from and where we're coming to, it's a much colder climate here, a much shorter growing season. So you have to understand intensive growing. Know where you're going. Understand your bug out location and how those seasons are different than where you live now. And the way things grow differently, and the different things that grow if you're going into completely different growing zones when you bug out. So that being said, putting up a greenhouse here is essential. We know the things that we have to do. We just can't sustain those things because we're not here enough to be able to sustain those things ready to go. But those production systems are in place, and there is storage here so that we can last until we can get our production online. Accessibility is another huge thing. You have to be able to get to your bug out location. Now, I'm going to tell you that our bug out location, it is difficult to get to. It's not difficult to get to in the sense that you have to scale mountains or rappel down sheer cliffs, but it's a good distance from our home base. And there's no way around going through a couple of small towns that will be congested choke points if the apocalypse were to happen, if society were to collapse. So understanding that things are bad, understanding that early enough, so watching the warning signs, knowing what's happening in the world around you, knowing what to look for. What does calamity look like? What does a bug out situation truly look like? Doing that math and setting that plan ahead of time so that you can get through those choke points before other people realize what's happening and beginning to panic is essential. So accessibility is a huge deal when it comes to your bug out location. If you think you're going to travel for a month on foot, that's a very hard plan. You need to have a way to get there. It needs to be accessible, and you need to practice getting there. You need to know how long it takes you to get there, and you need to be situationally aware as you go through those small towns. As you make your way there, understand the choke points, understand where those hijack points can be, and then know that you have a plan to get there, that when you get on the road, people are thinking the way you're thinking, and that you have a strategy to get through those choke points and those blind areas because you've already thought ahead and you've already planned that with the people that are going with you. If you haven't had an opportunity to watch our video on the importance of water at your bug out location, go ahead and click that right now and watch that next video. Guys, thank you so much for being with us. I'm the Chief, and you've been watching Prepared to Live. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video.